It was dark now, it was just pitch black. Deep into the woods, you hear out in the distance this roaring coming upon us, and it gets louder and louder. 45,000 people out there in their tents yell, "Ah!"
What is the cost of lies? It's not that we'll mistake them for the truth, but if we hear enough lies, then we no longer recognize the truth at all. What else is left but to abandon even the hope of truth and content ourselves instead with stories?
Way back when I wore younger man's clothes, I used to review and photograph concerts and music festivals all around the country for a local independent radio station. And I mean, it was some of the most fun years of my life, and I got tons of stories, but there's one that really takes the cake. And anybody who was there is going to know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about Wakarusa 2013. I mean, it was a great old time, but man, oh man, it was a literal shitstorm in more ways than one. It was a music festival down in Arkansas. It was not like a Bonnaroo that's like super mainstream. This one was kind of still low key, and a buddy of mine and I were down there covering the whole thing. And we get down there Wednesday night, set up camp. We were in the staff section because we had our passes and everything. But there was rain forecasted for the whole weekend. And Thursday was supposed to be the first day, and it rained all day, and then lightning too. And the stages are giant metal lightning rods, so they're not going to let anybody in there. And they shut down the whole place almost all day. They opened it up later in the evening, and Black Crowes were playing, and that was awesome. We got to see them, and I think we were setting up to see Sound Tribe Sector 9, and over the loudspeaker they said, "Well, there's more storms coming. We need to evacuate the place. Head back to your campsites and your cars, and we'll let you know when things pass." And everybody was kind of bummed out. We just all kind of waddled back to our tents and stuff, and everybody was partying out there, waiting for the storms. You know, whatever you wanted, they had it there. So they weren't going to let a little rain stop their 4-day party, you know. The next day was a little nicer. The weather was fair. The sun was out, and it looked promising. But there was word on Shakedown Street that there was another round of storms coming, and they were right. I mean, everybody was full-blown party time, and it was a good time until the evening came. And once again, the loudspeaker came on and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, there's another round of storms coming our way. We need you to evacuate the facilities and head back to your campsites." Repeat, evacuate. And I was bummed out because they had the Sfongle experience that night. I never seen them before. I was pumped to see them, but was not the case. So we all headed back to our tents, and I should say this. I mentioned earlier we were in the staff campsite, and we were camped out next to these rednecks, like Arkansas rednecks, man. They were good old boys through and through, and man, they were awesome to hang out with. They were prepared for this shit. They knew where they were, and they knew what was, you know, what could happen. So they had a giant, like a 60-foot by 60-foot tarp hung up and strung up into the trees so that their whole campsite was covered up. So when the rain came, we would just hang out with these guys with the chairs and just watched and laughed as the storm came in. And we were out there drinking and smoking and just waiting for whatever was coming. It was dark now. It was just pitch black. And in the deep into the woods, you hear out in the distance this roaring, this just like a freight train just coming in slowly but surely, just getting louder and louder and louder. This great rumble is just coming upon us, and it gets louder and louder. And the whole 45,000 people out there in their tents, screams, just let out this Braveheart yell as this damn monsoon of rain comes and just smashes everything. It is just an absolute shit show. And it just downpour all night. And it should be said too that this very same storm system developed to this day, the biggest and strongest tornado anywhere. The El Reno tornado that was like 2.5 miles, 3 miles wide or something. It was the same storm that smashed us here. and just all night. My tent was fucked. I had to sleep in the car. Man, the thunder and the lightning was just amazing. Just one of those moments where you're reminded how much power nature has over you and how little you are. Oh man, well, we made it through the night, but the next day, man, it was just a muddy mess. Like the streets, it's all on dirt and grass, all these cars coming in and out. And these cars were now getting stuck in the mud. The mud would go up to your knees. So we're in a situation now where we couldn't move if we wanted to. They were telling people they couldn't come in. So people couldn't leave and people couldn't get out. And there were people that were trying to get in who had paid, you know, thousands of dollars for a VIP pass. Well, they couldn't get in and there was no refunds. So it was a lot of unhappy people on the outside. People on the inside, you know, they were free-flowing hippies, so they were just taking it all with as it comes, you know. But yeah, we were in literally a disaster zone where people couldn't get in or out, and just a muddy mess. But the next day, you know, it wasn't as bad as the last. It was actually, I think, the best day of the festival. Weather was nice. The rain had kind of dropped the temperature a little bit, and people were finally having some good weather, you know. All the storms had passed, and now it was time to enjoy the festival. And man, it was a hippie festival, man. They had all kinds of great big bands that you heard of, and a ton of little guys that you never heard of. They had Monsters and Men, Mute Math, Ozzel Motley, and Earfunk playing their Daft Punk tribute set, and man, it was just an awesome rave, and you just never met more nice people. It's such a great atmosphere to be in because, you know, I like to say it's kind of like these big corporate entities are like capturing the essence of the 60s and the Woodstock generation. They've captured that essence and they're now selling it back to us for like $200 a pop. And it's kind of sucks that it kind of is that. But at the same time, it's a great way to experience that essence, you know? And there's like a community there, an agreed community where everybody's nice to each other and just, you know, they're doing drugs and all that, but man, they're loving it. They're listening to the beautiful music and they're out in nature and they're just being decent human beings to everybody. And it's a great experience for anybody to have because what's supposed to happen is you take what you learn there and you bring it back into regular society. Because it seems like we've kind of forgotten how to be, you know, a community of people who, you know, love each other and are out to help each other. Instead, it's like a back and forth team versus team right now. It's kind of frustrating to me, but I'm not getting on that fucking route because God knows that'll be a rabbit hole and distract this whole story. But man, the rest of the festival after that was pretty jamming. I mean, Snoop Dogg, none other Snoop Dogg. I think he was Snoop Lion at that point, but he was there and got some pictures of him. But he was kind of lame, man. He opened with you know, as one of his hits, and then after that he played California Girls and some other trash. So left after a couple of songs there. Amon Tobin was the headliner of the whole festival. He was incredible. He had this giant Kubert wall that would glow and just make all of these different projected psychedelic scenes while he's inside working the levers and making some awesome sounds up there. That was pretty cool. I was really looking forward to RJD2, but he canceled out probably because of the weather. But apparently he canceled out the year before too. And it's kind of a dick from the sounds of things, and I was disappointed there, but man, oh man, it was just a super, super awesome trip, even though we almost all died in a giant storm. It was fun. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Got some awesome pictures, had a lot of fun, and yeah, there's my Wakarusa 2013 story. It's one for the books, to say the least. And hope you enjoyed it. Hope you come back again to see another one. I got a Paul McCartney story. Oh, I got a tease on you. There's a Paul McCartney story I got to tell one of these days. So yeah, I hope you come back. Hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you make your own stories because life's worth living. Cheers.